documenting my audience of 8 members and turning the camera over to an audience member. So today I'm going to be talking about the continuing need for public libraries. Why is this a debate? I believe the majority of those in this room would say that of course we still need free access to digital and written resources, but someone listening might think the opposite of why is this a debate. They might think, well, of course we don't need a physical building of books and reference materials when we have things like Google and Amazon at our fingertips. I think the facts perfectly illustrate both those sides. So in an article for Salon magazine, writer Amin Asif shares that in the year of 2015 there were 1.6 billion visits to a public library, yet the government implemented a 40% decrease in funding that same year. So on a personal level, I work across the street from our rural, small hometown library. I can see the parking lot. It's never empty. When I go in every week or two, there's always anywhere from 10 to 50 people inside. There's usually a wait list to use the computers with internet access. There's usually people reading, writing, usually a meeting going on. However, despite the busy, obviously useful public library, a city board member last year suggested that eliminating the public library would be an easy way to cut the budget and wouldn't affect many people. For people like her, middle class, probably wouldn't have much an effect. For others, though, it would cut off their only source of technology and community and the only public space here in my hometown that's free of charge. Carlos Losado said if we do not have libraries, if we lose the notion of free access to most information, the world of haves and have-nots will grow further and further apart. Our economy will suffer and our democracy will be put at unnecessary risk. Libraries are no less needed in the digital age. They're uniquely suited for community needs, and we need to be aware of these needs and the ways that libraries can fill them. Libraries can create a haven free of economic discrimination. They can be a place for education. They can create equal opportunities, and they can build community. And I'm going to share a little bit more about how they can do those things. First of all, they're places free from economic discrimination. Quoting Amin Asif again, he called them the truest democratic institution because they are a place where you are truly, doesn't matter your economic status or your education level. Libraries can also be defined as a third space. A third space is a place, not work or school and not home, but somewhere that you can feel like a part of a community, a place where you can go. And the only thing that is required to be a part of this public space is a library card. I got mine when I was 8, and the only requirement in order to be able to get this was to be able to sign my name. I assume you could also use an X to sign your name. But that's all it took to get this, and then I was free to use all of the resources there in the library. There is unlimited access to so many resources. Traditional resources like books, magazines, newspapers, even in the case of my local library, museum passes or zoo passes. You watch a movie about the zoo and you get free passes to the zoo. There's also a lot of non-traditional resources now that libraries are offering: ebooks, internet access, as we've mentioned, classes, traditional classes as well as technology classes. They offer DVDs, games. They lend out tools for creative uses. They also, a lot of libraries are creating what are called maker spaces, where people can come in and use studio space or use art supplies and create things that they might not be able to do, economically. The access isn't dependent upon finances to purchase or education level or ability to understand. It's unlimited and undiscriminating. If you show up and follow the rules, you're allowed. Libraries are also uniquely suited to encourage and facilitate education. They support schools in educating children through reading readiness. One of the ways that they do that is through story time and familiarity with books. In a TEDx talk about libraries, Christy Hill talks about how children will come in and open up a book upside down, and reading readiness helps children to learn, this is how we look at a book, this is how we read, so that when they get to kindergarten, they are ready to read. There's also access to extra resources for children who are already in school, as well as their teachers, things that schools might not have the finances to purchase, or that the parents of the children might not have the finances to purchase. For adults, there's expanded literacy and tech resources, adult literacy classes, access and instruction to technology. Libraries are the best and the most equipped public institution for this expanded access to education. Libraries also create equal opportunities. For those who said that they had access to references and books at their fingertips, they're on one side of what we call the digital divide. They're privileged, they have internet access. So does anyone here, when I say digital divide, does anyone here know what that means? So a digital divide is inequality in or in use of or access to and the impact of technology on someone's life. So if you have it, you are on one side. On the other side, you don't have that equality. You don't have easy access to it. The library can provide that. It has access to computers, to internet. A recent estimate said that 25 million households are without internet access, primarily in rural areas where public libraries are the most used for internet access. So libraries create that digital literacy opportunity and the ability to educate as to how to use that digital technology. The same resources, again, are available to all and help bridge that digital divide. Libraries are also community builders. While you might say, oh, but my church or this nonprofit I know about can meet these same needs that you're talking about, they don't always necessarily do it neutrally. A library is a very unique public entity, free of religious and political affiliations. You don't have to do or believe anything to be a library patron. So those who do not fit in elsewhere might find a community or a third space at the library. At the same time, it is a place that brings people together over common interests. So immigrants might meet in their English classes at the library. Moms might meet at story times. Book clubs or tech classes can bring people together over common interests. Or just a mutual interest in the library, and you might expand your horizons by meeting people in that way. So libraries are no less useful now than they were prior to the internet. It is, if anything, increasingly essential to help bridge the digital divide and to be a welcoming third place. No other institution offers the same access to the social and educational opportunities that a library does in that neutral setting. And in order for a library to continue to meet those needs, we must be aware of and support them. We can visit, we can get a library card, we can check out a book or two, or if you're like me, you might check out a whole entire stack of books. And ask how you can be involved and how you can help at your local library. And I'd like to share this quote from Caitlin Moran. A library in the middle of a community is a cross between an emergency exit, a life raft, and a festival. They are cathedrals of the mind, hospitals of the soul, theme parks of the imagination. On a cold, rainy island, they are the only sheltered public spaces where you are not a consumer but a citizen. Instead, a mall, the shops, are places where your money makes the wealthy wealthier. But a library is where the wealthy's taxes pay for you to become a little more extraordinary instead. No other institution offers this. It is the epitome of democracy. Thank you.